Welcome to the Goal Podcast, news and commentary from Gun Owners Action League, your leading voice for the Massachusetts gun owner.
I'm Jeff. I'm on the same side of the table as Gary.
That's a little different this
Because on the
time.
opposite side, the man, the myth, the legend, the new New England deer slayer, Mr. Jon Green.
Having a good time, gentlemen.
John,
good to be back.
always.
Good to be back.
Man, Jon Green, Goals Director of Education and Training, having a fabulous year in the blind.
Yeah, best year ever.
That's great.
Yeah, best year ever.
Tell us about it.
Where do I start? First shot was a miss at 20 yards, and it went all uphill from there. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Archery season.
I did hear that.
We all miss. So first off, guys, a pleasure to be back. As I travel around all the clubs doing the gun law seminars, everybody's the podcast. You guys are knocking it out of the park, and just thanks for your mitzvah.
We
How
appreciate
fitting.
that.
Second day of Hanukkah, and I got to work in a little bit of Yiddish. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So hunting season, muzzleloader season.
Yep.
And I think we've had a pretty good season. I know I have.
No, listen,
Pictures, man.
I've had good years. This year I put one deer down in archery season. There's still a little bit of time left, so we'll see what happens. But
Absolutely.
I got a little bit of time left. I haven't had any contact yet, but there's still a few more opportunities before muzzleloader season's over.
Optimism is high.
Yeah.
Well, if that's all right with you, John, you're more than welcome to come out and sit in the blind and
I'll take you up on that.
and try a little heater hunting.
That's right.
I'll have to show you how to run that little furnace.
Now, there's a big difference between heater hunting in Jackman and heater hunting in Zone 10 or Zone 9 or Zone 8.
That's true. That is
Yeah,
very
but we'll
true.
get you in there with the heater buddy. The best thing I bought, and we were joking, texting John about this, is I got the heater buddy, but I bought the hose to go to like a 20-pound propane tank.
Nice.
So no more swapping tanks out and having to run out, mid sit.
So you just sit and enjoy your sit.
turn
But you
that
just
thing on
have to
high.
bring a small bottle to put into the kitty when you go there. Yep. So did you see I left you a small bottle?
I did see a small bottle, but
Yep. God forbid that's the reserve tank.
Yeah.
yeah,
like it.
that 20-pound tank's holding up pretty
Man,
well.
so you guys got the little condo happening out there, and
Yeah, it's going to
Nice.
try to talk to maybe about running some power in the TV and a mini fridge. And
can I get cable and Wi-Fi out here?
The hot plate in the mini fridge, man. I'd never come home.
Oh man. So archery, shotgun.
Yeah, so archery season started out very much with a miss, right? So Jeff and I have been hunting Zone 10. We've got a very, very, really just a great place. We're
is a
fortunate to be
fabulous
able to
spot,
hunt
yep.
this piece of property. So we put up a ladder stand where we know that the deer were coming out, and we have them on camera, in and out, pretty much like clockwork. And had a doe come out 15, 20 yards,
Beauty.
just a clean miss right under its belly, right? 20 yards, and then had another opportunity on a button buck at 50 yards. And not a blade of grass, not a branch between the ladder stand and this deer, just no clue that I was there. And I had been, every time I go to clubs, I'll go a couple of hours early, maybe bring a shotgun, shoot some clays. I was practicing down at Bass River on their 3D course, and just hammering the 50 and 60 yard 3D targets. So I felt very comfortable.
Confidence, yeah.
And I was able to put a nice 50 yard shot in this button buck, and it didn't go 25 yards. I mean,
I was going to say the arrow flew further than the deer ran.
oh yeah. And what were we using? The G5s broadhead, I think, and just the blood trail was, oh my goodness. And every archer, every hunter, to be able to see that animal crash within your vision. I mean,
just right away.
what a relief.
Yep.
What a relief.
Yep.
So that was archery. I didn't get another shot off with archery, and then took a 130-pound doe in Shrewsbury in Zone 9 with my slug gun. I use a Savage 220.
Yep.
And just guns never let me down. So that there's something about a blood trail in the virgin white snow. Don't you agree?
Red on white.
Oh my goodness! So that deer was great, yummy eating to boot. And then when my hunting buddy Jeff was calling me from sunny Florida, I'm in his box blind in Zone 10, and right where now you gotta. God love you, Jeff. Right. So in Jeff's box blind, he's got to the wall an 8.5 by 11 map with yardages and
geez.
landmarks. Right.
What the heck is this guy?
Oh, yeah.
Well
Nice.
prepared. I'm
Right
like,
on.
so, he's right on. So sure enough, we're texting back and forth, and this just brute of a should have been a 10-point, but it was an 8-point, had 2 points lost, probably from fighting or falling down drunk, who knows. Came out at about 130 yards, and thank goodness I hit it with the slug gun. It dropped right there because, last year I got off that piece of property, swam across the Concord River, and that's another story that we've told before.
Right.
So this one fell right there, but it was a shoulder shot and kept trying to get up, and I put 2 more into him. The last shot was 40 yards prone, just gun on top of the knapsack and just right to the back of the neck.
Sure.
And just a beautiful deer with a lot of stories. And then just when I thought it couldn't get any better, the following Saturday, Jeff's still in Florida. I'm, making sure his box blind is how it should be, taking care of the place while he's gone, getting the mail, things like that, keeping the lawn mowed. And doesn't this bruiser of an 8-point come out and at 50 yards with the muzzleloader, and just a good double lunger, probably went 20, 25 yards. Man. And field dressed on the hook. We used Jetty's Chop Shop in Spencer, and they weighed it while I was there, 215 pounds.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a big body deer.
It was a really big body deer. And
barrel-chested beast right there.
Yeah,
That's,
absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Jeff had texted me a photo of the same deer coming onto the property that we hunt in zone 10, 15 or 20 minutes before I shot it.
Yeah.
And I didn't see the text, right? I try not to look at the cell phone when I'm hunting.
Yeah.
I'm looking where I'm supposed to
Right.
be looking. So it was just, it was such a toast, a compliment to, that's the deer you just sent me, and that deer is now in the back of my truck.
Oh, yeah.
Back of my truck.
oh, man.
Yeah, so I trifected +1. So
That's
the great trifecta, one with bow, one with shotgun, one with muzzleloader. And that was my goal. I've only done that once before. So
And you did it with,
Nice.
with some tremendous deer.
The hat trick.
I mean, tremendous deer.
I'm going through
Lucky.
and I'm going through all the trail camera photos that I have for the season, and that one that the first one that John shot on the Monday.
Yeah.
So I'd flown out that morning. Monday he shot that deer, and that was the one that's like, man, I really hope I want to see that. I want to see this guy in person because I never had like the right photo of him, so I really wanted to see his antler configuration.
You knew he was out there.
And then you know the big smiling photo. I was like, man, damn it, like
You're
good
bastard.
well, no, I mean it's like we kind of joked about it a little bit. Like there's a little piece of your heart. It's
Sure.
like we're both hunting the same fields, the same deer, and
yeah,
everything else.
sure.
So one person. My only regret is that I wasn't there to like relish in the moment too.
Yeah.
Of actually seeing the guy on the ground. But with the second one, I think I landed in Providence at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And there was no way I was going to make it out. Like I was falling asleep on the couch. And
And I texted him, are you coming out? Are you coming out? Are you coming out?
And I was like, no, I'm not going to make it. And we always say you can't shoot him on the couch.
No, you can't.
So, shame on me for not going. But I was like, nope, have a good time. Sit out in the blind. Let me know how it goes. And then, I don't know, 4 o'clock or so, I get the little ding from one of my trail cameras. And just this monster is walking through on the other side of the property. And I was like, Jesus, the thing's got some body on him. So I just, hit the button, share, send it to John.
Yeah.
I was like, well, he just walked through. So,
Eyes up.
and I was maybe 20 minutes late, from the timestamp on the photo to when I messaged him. And I said, you walked through 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago,
Sitting in the blind, maybe put down the hot cocoa and,
Yeah. So incoming. And then, and then right after I sent that text, I got another little ding and I saw John walking past my other trail camera and he was going to retrieve the deer he just shot.
Yeah, he had a giant smile on his face, right?
Yeah. So, no, it's great. It's fantastic. We've there's been a few years where we've seen some really impressive deer get older and mature.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had the feeling that one of these years we were going to have a good year
Yeah, well.
as far as, getting some mature animals on the ground and
Doesn't get any better.
And I'm convinced that the deer with a broken antler, the one that's supposed to be the 10-point, that's the deer that walked past me in the orchard last year, 15 minutes after my contact fell out of my eye. Right, so I'm bow hunting.
You told us it's
bow hunting.
Yep.
Left eye dominant. Got a left-handed bow. My left contact lens falls onto the ground. I don't have a spare. I don't have my glass. I'm like, what's going to happen? Probably nothing. And then, the deer of a lifetime walks by broadside, 20 minutes in front of me, not a blade of grass between it and me, and I can't see my pens. And I literally cried. Jeff and I wear the camouflage face paint when we are hunting from the blinds, when we're hunting, and I forgot that I was wearing it. Get home, my wife's like, honey, your mascara's running. Right? And I had to tell the story. So it's been sometimes tough hunting on the farm, but it's not just the deer. I mean, turkey parades constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We love the turkeys, the squirrels. We've had, I don't know how many coyotes, and then the geese. And then last Saturday night, we probably had, 300 or 400 geese in that field, just right in front of the blind. I'm like, if I had my bow, right? Yeah. I have to check see if they're still in season or not. But that's what makes it such a great place.
It is a great location. Yeah.
And pretty much all season, the deer they look at their watch like, it's a half hour. we can go out for another half hour, but then we have to get back in. I mean, they just know the schedule, and they stay away from the farm during the daylight hours. Yeah. Right now, as we're approaching the end of the season, those big bucks started coming out a little bit towards the 4 o'clock hour.
Man,
I'm curious if it was a little warmer, a little bit longer into the season, and we. Walking in, even with a thermal camera, you would see deer everywhere until, if shooting hours started at 5, you'd see them everywhere until 4:30.
And then absolutely,
and then
like 20 deer at a time.
Time to go, guys.
Yep. And then, if shooting hours ended at 5, you'd leave, and I wouldn't even make it home, and I'd have deer trail cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things.
That's why they call it hunting and not killing, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. But,
right.
So those photos were absolutely fantastic. A great deer.
Good stuff.
It must have been a fun lift into the truck.
Getting smarter. The first one, the 167-pound deer, the 8-point, I had a block and tackle set up, tied off to the front bumper over the cab, and I've got it connected to the jet sled, and I'm trying to pull that block and tackle as I guide the jet sled, and then the second deer, it's like I just put down the ramp and grabbed the jet sled and towed it right up. So
right up.
I'm getting a little bit smarter. Getting a little bit smarter.
Well, you mentioned so in my blind, I have this little laminated range card.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So it's
not little, 8.5 by 11.
It's big enough that I can see it. But what I do is, when I set my blinds up, because we're setting it up for the season. I'm not setting a pop up that's going to move a whole bunch.
Right.
We'll take a walk around with the rangefinder and go through the fields and this
stump
this corner of this field, this corner, this cut through these, the pipes and stuff that come up for irrigation. So I created this little, rudimentary map with the yardage indicators. Like, all right, the foss is at 95. The opposite end of the field's 135. To that cut is 215. And then I have a little drop chart for mine to remember, okay, at 100 yards, I'm plus 2 inches. At 150, I'm plus 0.5. I just laminated it, taped it up on the inside of the blind, and there I don't have to to check, don't have to range.
Yep, range cards. That's
quick,
what it's
easy
all about.
Estimation to say that, all right, that deer's, it's between 80 to the corner of the field and 95 to the faucet. So
hunt smarter.
Hunt smarter. Man, I'm going to have to take you up on that and go sit.
It really is. It's a well-appointed ground blind. Very well appointed.
Yeah, absolutely. More than happy to let you sit there, and we have another blind set up that I'd love to sit in for the rest of the year. So
cool.
Postseason, you got a new blind this year, one of the see-through ones.
Yeah, I bought 2 of those see-through blinds. Yeah, so we have one. We have one at the farm in Zone 10, and then we have another one that I keep in Shrewsbury.
Kind of like the one-way thing where it's like, really like the YouTube videos. They really live up to that, where you can really see out. And,
Yep. They did a nice job, and they seem pretty well made. The last one I picked up, I think I got through Facebook sale at $75, and it's plenty of room.
Yeah.
Yep, plenty of room. A little tight in there with the bow, but when you're swinging
you gotta.
Exactly. When you're swinging a shotgun or a muzzleloader, no problems. Yep, but I like the concept of being able to see through it.
Yeah.
I ordered a couple for going into next year. So
Yeah.
ordered 2 of those, and it does make a difference.
Yeah, they've got all the hoops or loops so you can brush them in really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were well thought out, at least this brand. Tidewee or something like that.
Yeah, those are the 2 that I ordered.
Yep.
Cool.
And then we hunted Jackman.
Yes.
So we did the annual guys trip with you and I and Jimmy.
Yep.
When I say you and I, it's like all three of us
yeah.
and Jim.
Yeah, plus
In
Jim.
fact, you can't see it, folks, but Garrett got us all coffee cups with the 4 of us holding birds.
Yep.
Right on one side, and then just a beautiful picture of one of the streams that we drive over when we're up in Jackman. So we're up there for 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody killed birds.
Yep.
Didn't see any deer.
Season. No deer this time.
No deer, no moose.
No moose.
No.
We didn't really see anything but birds. We didn't see the bobcats. We didn't see the what did we see last year? Was it a lynx or something?
We saw the mama lynx with 4 kits or 3
that's right.
kits.
Yeah.
That was really
cool last year.
God,
Yeah.
we were probably within 40 yards of them.
Yeah.
Right on a dirt
just
road.
cutting across
Right
the
on the
road and
dirt.
going
Yeah.
off
Yep.
going off on their way.
Silver lynx, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh, we had good weather.
Good weather.
Boy, the Airbnb was something,
That was
huh?
fabulous. I love that
Between
place.
the pool table and the kitchen.
We were roughing
Yeah.
it. Roughing it.
Yeah,
Really
absolutely. Absolutely.
And having our own cook with us, that was nice.
Yeah. Trip being sponsored by Big Jim's Cooking. I mean, who can complain at that? Yep. Vittles were something.
Absolutely.
Vittles were something.
Put a dent in the world's bourbon population.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. One of my
man.
favorite trips of the year.
That I
Love
look
that.
forward to. That's a
Yeah.
highlight for me. I love that trip.
I'm glad we've already booked for next year too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm already counting down. Mm-hmm. We should do something like in January if we can. I don't know what, but
So
there's gotta be
we're
something we
talking.
can do, right?
Who do we know on Nantucket? If we can get over to Nantucket
Yeah,
for
right.
their January muzzleloader season for deer, like that'd be something.
If you happen to be listening to this podcast, and you know
You haven't even
anybody
listened.
on the island,
And you happen to
SOS.
own property on Nantucket.
right.
And you want to
SOS.
host.
that's right. And those deer are just being a real problem for you. Let us know.
Yeah, the only time I've ever seen deer on the beach. Right?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
Seen deer on that was over at
On
I've been
Nantucket?
over a couple of times for gold business
Yeah.
classes and what have you. Same thing over Martha's Vineyard. It's like just growing up in central Massachusetts, one would never think, oh, you see deer on the beach. But I
seems
guess out
odd.
there, I've seen turkey on the beach. I mean, literally,
I guess
here are the
so.
waves crashing. Here's the sand beach. 6 months later, we're building sandcastles in that very spot. And there's a bunch of deer, bunch of
wild.
turkey. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think about that either, but sure.
They're not
I guess.
exactly
you know.
built for sandy environments.
Who knew?
Wonder how
Who
hooves
knew?
would do. I don't know. Well, you know, hey, it's you look and see what happens when hunting regulations don't match what the environment needs.
Yeah.
So then they get overrun with deer, and then they have to call
Yep.
and do a whole huge to do, and
They call in the quote unquote specialists
Right.
to come in and call everything, and yeah.
they've
All
done
they gotta
years
do
where
is
all of a
not be
sudden they
ridiculous.
release tons of permits, and now all of a sudden there's the Orange
Yeah.
Army is flooding everywhere, and then you get calls and complaints
Sure.
of
yeah, people start moaning about it.
Hey,
and-
someone's walking through my backyard. So
yeah.
it's like, if you
Instead of being sensible about it, it would seem.
if you maintained consistently appropriate hunting practices and hunting permits and stuff like that,
course.
you can avoid that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the same
Man.
thing happened with the coyotes up north of Boston, where you saw towns that outlawed no coyote hunting whatsoever. Then they get out of hand and start snatching
Yeah.
up people's pets
Right.
and threatening people's
right.
kids. And now they have
You took my chihuahua.
they got to have
Specialists.
quote unquote sharpshooters
Yeah, right.
that are walking around in between people's houses and neighborhoods and stuff, trying to shoot things and not put bullet holes in people's
Right.
homes. And
yeah. Yeah.
My college roommate, when I lived in Utah, worked for Utah Division of Fisheries and Wildlife, and he, not a hunter, he went in on some of the deer culls with helicopters, and he just was never. His stories, like it just grossed me out. It was sick. I didn't enjoy doing it. I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. But sometimes you got to go in and you've got to cull the herd.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to do
Nobody's
that.
better at that than the responsible hunter.
Yeah.
The moral and ethical hunter. Right, so it's a win-win when they allow the good people to get out of field and take care of that.
Yeah. That's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. That's the way it was intended to be.
That's right. Well, we've got, today's the 16th, so we have, another
couple
14,
Saturdays anyway.
Yeah, another 2 weeks.
15 days,
Yep.
another 2 weeks of hunting.
Yeah, 15 days till New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, where I hunt in Shrewsbury. I'm up in my tree stand. It's December 31st, and my best friend from childhood, Bobby Franchi, sneaks up behind me. Now I'm 25 feet up in the tree. Yeah. It's 5 minutes left of legal light. Now it's 4 minutes left of legal light. There's like 30 seconds left of legal light. And he, right behind the trees, just beneath me, I can't see him, he fires off his muzzleloader into the ground. Oh. I jumped. Oh. Thank God I was tethered to that tree. Just to screw with me. That was the funniest thing I've ever happened to me in the woods. And I like, what the fuck? And I look down and he is just laughing and smiling. Another time we're out getting the stands ready back in zone 9. And I'm on the ground with a pair of pruners, right, trying to cut some of the dead stuff for a lane. And I'm on all fours, and all of a sudden, ow! I hit a yellow jacket nest, and I'm getting stung in the hand. And it's thick cover. He's up in the tree stand, right, because he's guiding me. He's like, that one over there, that one over there. And as I'm running, I'm getting attacked by bees. I'm running. I think I'm going to die. I get caught up in a root. I fall. I get up another 5 steps. I fall down again.
This is how it ends.
And when I realized, okay, I'm far enough from the bee's nest. I only got stung like 3 times, but, I thought I was going to die. And he's like, that was the funniest thing I ever saw. There was nothing I could do. I'm up in the tree stand.
Yeah, right.
I can't do anything. He says, I just couldn't get my cell phone fast enough to film you. I'm like, Bobby, I'm dying. You need to get me something to the hospital. Oh, I did. The times. But that's why we love it.
Oh, at least you didn't get it in the tree stand.
Oh,
yeah.
There's no escape.
There's no quick scramble out of there.
Talked to a guy down in South Carolina. We used to hunt South Carolina with Tom Collins, Low Country Hunt Club. Excuse me. I'm talking with another guy. What we love about it, and we've got to get down there one of these years.
Oh, God,
we've been talking about it for years, right? With all the other hunters from all over the country, right? Just everybody's got a story. Everybody's looking after the same time, the camaraderie, maybe successfully killing something.
Fabulous.
So anyways, I'm talking to this one hunter down there, and he told me, last time he was down there, he's sitting in a tree stand, a cane snake, baby rattler, timber rattlers, they call him cane snake, fell onto his lap while he was in the tree stand. I'm like, I'm like, what'd you do? I shoot it off me. Like it was nothing. He grew up in an area where they had rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
And then another time, it's like, dark 30, and I'm climbing up into a box blind, right? Elevated box blind, and I sit down, and don't I sit down on one of South Carolina's biggest wasps, get stung right in the... So I'm like, I sit down like, and I just leap out. Somehow I turn in midair and I grab the ladder and slide down the ladder without killing myself. And I'm on the phone with the guide. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, you got to get out of here. You got to get here. You got to get here real quick. I just got stung by a bee. He's like, okay, well, can you walk to another blind? Yeah, but my rifle's in the box blind. I'm not going up to get it. So he's got to send another guide out,
I'm not going back in there.
You Yankees, you Yankees, you little girly men or something out there. I'm like, it was a big wasp, and my ass hurts. It really does. Yeah. Oh, the times.
Oh man.
Oh, the times.
Oh, nothing will make you feel smaller than being in the woods in the dark by yourself. And just like every creepy, scary thing that you've ever imagined from childhood is just playing in your head.
You feel like a big man till you get actually out into the woods and it's pitch dark and you're like, what was that?
Yeah.
Was that crack? Was that a,
So would you rather walk into the woods at dark 30 or walk out of the woods in the pitch black?
Into
probably. Yeah.
I rather walk out.
Yeah.
Because at least I've seen it in the day.
It's fair enough. Okay.
All right. My logic was at least I know daylight's coming. If you
that's kind of where
if you have an issue getting out, then you're there for the night.
True.
So that was my thought.
Yeah.
True.
If you're leaving the woods and it's pitch dark, then you start getting the feeling something's following you out.
Yeah. I remember being down in South Carolina one time. and there's a lot of history down in the areas that we hunt down there, and I swear there was a spirit that just went through me, right? Just got you can't even describe it. And it was like, I don't want to go back to that spot. Absolutely, do not take me back to that spot.
Fair
it's
enough.
like, okay, yeah, I get it. If you're not comfortable there, I'm like, I was super comfortable there. It was an awesome, and then something went through me like a spirit or something, and I was not invited.
Something happened.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's like when you get out in Appalachia, and they're like, if you hear something in the woods, no, you didn't. Like, don't walk around whistling. Like, that's bad. It's got, bad mythology around it. And,
Wow.
I don't know. Really, I mean, truthfully, the scariest thing that ever happened to me was I had a skunk walk by, sitting. I'm just
that's pretty scary.
sitting and just have some netting up for a blind and just kind of plopping along. You've seen skunks walk
doing
around,
skunk
just
stuff,
doing its own thing. And I mean, walk between me and the netting, so it had maybe like 2 feet of space, walked right past my boots.
They are beautiful.
They are
Beautiful creatures.
They are.
And I've heard
respect them from a distance, but
people get the scent glands removed, and they said they make amazing pets, like
Really?
very friendly, very chill, whatever. But all I could think of was like, if this thing sprays me, I'm out all this hunting gear. Like, there's no fixing it.
No.
I'm finding a dumpster on the way home to ditch these clothes.
And you're driving home naked.
So talking about skunks, Jake, my son, I think he was in third grade, and I remember letting the dog out. Bella, our yellow lab, let the dog out, and I just saw the flash, and then I saw the stream. So from 3 feet away, the dog is just hosed. And I'm saying the dog's 3 feet from me, 6 inches from the skunk. The dog turns, runs past me, brushes me with it's all liquid at that point. Long story short, the house stunk of it. Everything, the walls, everything just stunk. But we all smelled it so much that, okay, we got rid of the smell. Nobody smells it anymore. Jake went to school the following day, into elementary school. The stench, the smell was so bad, they called the janitorial staff thinking that there was a skunk that got loose in the high school. And it was my son, and his nickname for the next year was Skunk Boy.
It's nothing you can do.
No.
There's nothing. No.
Leave the house, come back, you can smell it again. And then every time it's, anytime that smell stuff gets wet, it just comes right back.
Yeah. That was my brother-in-law sitting on my back deck. We used to have a pool at the house, and we're sitting there, it's probably 2:00 in the morning, smoking cigars or whatever, and the skunk comes up under the fence and up to the pool, starts taking a drink, and my brother-in-law is from California. He's like, "You gonna do anything about that?" Nope. He can have all the water he wants.
I have a very close friend. I will not mention his name. Years ago, I think he was in 6th grade. He shot a skunk in his family's breezeway.
Oh, no.
And literally, every time it rained, for years and years and years, all you could smell was skunk.
Oh,
yep.
God.
Yep.
So the skunk got the last laugh.
Yeah, it really did.
Right.
Yep, the legacy.
Oh, man.
The legacy. So, folks, let the skunks be.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're cool.
They just hang out, eat some stuff and move along their way.
Let them hang out.
So what are the plans? So did you get all the processing done, all the meats back in and in the freezer?
Yes. Yeah, so there's a bunch in the truck now. So for you guys, like, help yourself. So that's what I did this weekend. So
I don't say no to venison.
The Jetty's Chop Shop out of Spencer, Ann and Ron, they're just wonderful, wonderful people. Kyle and the crew, they do a great job by us. And they're retiring. They're retiring. So Kyle is going to be taking over the business, moving it to East Brookfield. So they paper wrap everything. They don't do any vacuum sealing. So this weekend I started vacuum sealing everything over the paper.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Why not?
Get a little more life out of it.
Yeah.
But I've had stuff from them that's 2 years old.
It's
in the
still
paper.
Fine.
Sure,
Yeah, in the paper.
As long as you keep it frozen.
Yep.
And don't thaw, refreeze, thaw, refreeze.
Yeah.
It has come out, and
Keep it in deep freeze.
I've put backstrap on the grill, and it tastes just as good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, good
that
stuff.
backstrap that we had up at Jackman this year, that was delicious.
Like butter. Good stuff.
Jim made backstrap scampi.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
that's what I was, backstrap
I
scampi.
wouldn't have thought of that, but all
Yeah,
right.
when we do sausage this spring, if you want summer sausage, want to make in a batch, we'll figure something out.
Cool.
We'll get you a
Cool.
whole
I've got
bunch of
Joe,
summer sausage.
the president of the Worcester Pistol and Rifle Club, Joe Capobianco, is going to he's doing sausage now
Nice.
for a bunch of hunters. So I've got an
nice.
order with him. And we used to have a meat market, a butcher in Holden that you could bring them bulk venison and they would turn it into whatever kind of sausage. And unfortunately, they went out of business. The kids didn't want to take it over for the parents. And they made, the Chinese links. They had the Italian hot, sweet. And it came out perfect. And it was very reasonably priced, and now I can't find anybody in the Central Mass area to do that again. And then, lo and behold, the president of the Worcester Club says, "Hey, what are you doing with all the leftover meat from the deer you butcher?" And I said, "I don't butcher my own deer. I haven't learned that aspect of it yet. So we use."
I'm terrible.
He says, "Well, if you bring me bulk venison, I make sausage, and I make really, really good sausage. So I'm going to pick some up. I'll have a report for you next podcast."
Right on.
Excellent.
We'll keep them busy.
Excellent. That's good stuff.
And I just love looking at the Facebook Boston bow hunters and mass hunters, all the success, right? And then the trials and the tribulations. And when the new hunters, you love to see the kids.
Oh,
right? First time out, they bagged themselves, 100, 190, 200-pound buck.
My friend's son
like,
had
good
a
for them.
banner year he tagged out. My friend's son did, 15 years old.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, he had a great year.
Good for him.
10 years.
And I'm like, I'm real proud of you, you little prick,
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, real proud of you.
Hey, listen, I hunted 10 years in Central Mass before I ever pulled the trigger on anything. Yeah. 10 years. And ever since that date, now it's like, you learn, right?
Yeah, sure.
You learn, we get
Sure you do.
smarter.
Yeah.
We learn more about the deer. We probably learn a little bit more about us. But it seems, since that time, I've never gone without. Like last year I shot a buck on opening day in Zone 9, but nothing else after that. Nothing during shotgun, nothing during muzzleloader, just that one, nothing during archery, just that one shotgun buck. So
changes in an instant, though.
Absolutely.
Right?
But you got to be out there. We all agree on that. You got to be out there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
like you said, ain't going to happen from the couch.
But it's going to be interesting to see. So, as all the Chapter 135 provisions go in,
here we go.
How that's going to change, how that's going to affect hunters coming into the state. Are people going to want to continue to to go through all the hurdles, loops,
and making it so hard that
and
just everything,
flaming circus tricks and everything, just to go out and hunt for an afternoon.
Yeah, and we're really trying to get to the bottom of that. So what you're talking about is Chapter 140, Section 129C, paragraphs I, J, and K, I think. Don't quote me on the paragraphs. So we've been waiting literally for 20 years when we look back at it for the Colonel of the State Police to create a list of states that have similar FID card requirements and hunting license requirements. Well, good luck on that, because what other states have FID? I think the NRA Council years ago looked into it, and they said the closest to Massachusetts at that point was Illinois. So back in mid-November, Mike Harris files a Freedom of Information Act with Colonel of the State Police saying, where is the list of states that have similar requirements?
Nice.
I mean, ultimately, we want our New England partners to come back in and hunt Massachusetts.
Sure.
It's all good for the North American conservation model. It's good for the guides. It's good for the industry. It's good for Division of Fisheries and Wildlife. And they haven't done that, so Mike's following up with that. But we're really pushing, because as you know, Goal had mailed out to non-resident hunting license holders these postcards saying, hey, listen, laws changed. Don't come into Massachusetts. So we've been at loggerheads with the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife since the implementation of 135 over non-residents coming in to hunt. It's like, until we get that list from the Colonel of the State Police.
Because I mean, they're more than happy to sell you a tag.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
If you find out,
sure.
As we saw over the course of the year, the rules changed. Information was changing and evolving rapidly. And there were people that bought permits and licenses and says, I don't think I can hunt now. Can I get my money back? And they said, we don't even have a mechanism to refund. Like we've never had to.
We've never done.
Never had to do this, so we're not even really sure where to go.
We're not going to start now.
EOPS guidance is still saying yes, non-residents can come in to hunt with a non-resident hunting license. Like,
but that's not what the actual.
How does that jive with 129C? It doesn't. So we're pushing harder on that.
I think that's one of those little linguistic tricks of like, well, yeah, you can come in and hunt. Well, if you want to bring a gun, though. That's a whole different ball game, and you're going to have to start playing by those rules.
We have been saying since day one, unless you have that temporary LTC, what we erroneously call a non-resident LTC, unless you have that temporary LTC, don't come into Massachusetts with guns or ammunition,
because it's just not safe.
Yeah,
it's absolutely not.
And so one of the most frustrating things about this whole thing is obviously the disconnect between what the law actually says and what these guidances
it's amazing to me. Amazing to me.
They can be directly contradictory, and everybody at the state level is going, no, it makes perfect sense.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you notice there's no bright correction coming from the State House either. To say, I don't know, that's not what we said. There's no clarification coming that way.
Confusion
look at it. We went a whole year between the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security's previous guidance to the guidance that was just released the middle of last month.
Yeah.
A whole year.
A year.
Yep, a whole
and it's
year.
not like people haven't been asking questions either.
Oh, of course. I mean, their first guidance letter, first, second, and third guidance letter, I think it was a total of 10 questions?
Yeah.
This one has, let me see, I have it in front of me. We have 36.
5 or 6 pages.
Yeah,
39 questions.
Yeah.
If your FAQ is 4 or 5 printed pages, that means it wasn't done clear enough the first time.
It's not clear, right? Yeah.
Or the second time or the third time.
Mike Day, you obviously, this is not the most clearly thought out piece of legislation in the last 25
and we
years.
know he didn't communicate. He didn't speak with the stakeholders.
Of course
I mean, during 4420, he had the wonderful speaking tour, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That performative nonsense.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
The
and
quote,
just
unquote,
Siegel
listening
management. Here's your problem. Fix it. I'm going away.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a firm believer that he didn't write any of it. I think he farmed it out to all the different gun groups. He said, all right, you write this, what you want, and you write that, what you want. And that's why we originally saw all the stuff that was self-contradictory and then referencing federal laws and referencing state stuff and all over the map where it truly didn't make any sense. But I'm almost at the point now where obviously my feelings about him are what they are. But it's the other legislators who looked at this and looked at what a mess it was and then said, yeah, we're going to do it anyway.
I look at Senator Mike Moore, right? So Senator Mike Moore out of the Auburn area, he sponsored countless events at the Auburn Sportsman's Club.
Yeah.
And he always said, John, you make sure everybody knows that AR and AR-15 stands for Armalite Rifle, right? He was the only legislature, regardless of what side of the aisle, whether they were senators or representatives, he's the only one in my memory that ever paid for a full day. It was like a unisex women on target day at the range, right?
I remember
the club hosted.
volunteered
You guys
for a couple.
volunteered for that.
I was at that
It's
event.
the only guy, and he voted for this. I'm just
over the
it's
last couple
disgusting.
years,
he's changed.
his words and his actions have not.
Just terrible
with the whole thing.
Just
and then,
terrible.
Folks like Linsky, of course, and that nonsense that he did at the hearing a few weeks ago.
Yeah, let the courts work it out. Right,
Yeah.
you're destroying lives. Literally, you are destroying lives. I mean, the calls that I'm taking, that the staff's taking at the Goloff Square, people are literally frustrated. They're getting sick.
Yeah.
Am I complying? Am I not complying? I've always tried to be a lawful gun owner. Like, you can try, but I think it's virtually impossible to be
At this
lawful
point,
in the Commonwealth now.
Yeah, at this point, it feels like it's impossible.
Yeah, and add the constant frustrations of how many times you're seeing just recidivist career criminals, violent criminals, just pat on the wrist. Here's $300 bail. Come back later, and we don't want to make a big fuss about it. And it's like, people are dealing. People are dealing
drugs out of state
pallets
offices.
worth of drugs out of state offices, and you have people that are saying like, listen, that are honest to God doing their very best to follow the rules, to do everything right, and they're being demonized. They can't do it. They can't follow it. They can't understand it. And I totally get their frustrations. I mean, so from chapter 135 to now, how many law seminar classes do you think you've done? It's got to be in triple digits by now.
Oh, yeah. So easy. I can tell you the number, and I bet you I'm within 3 or 4, probably 120 since October of 2024.
That's amazing.
120.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's like every couple of days. Yep, off to this club, off to that club,
And it's changed the
spend a lot of
presentation.
time
I
on the
mean,
road.
God, if I was trying to keep track of the number of edits that I've done, Jim started the first PowerPoint show,
Yeah.
and he gave me that as a template, and it's like totally changed from that. But the information has changed quite a bit. I would say maybe 25% of the information from the original gun law seminar that took place October of 2024
Yeah.
to the last one,
And this
which
is
was
just
done
the
last
chapter
week.
135 one. This is the
Correct.
The
So
one
we
that covers the
Yeah, we cover the changes made by 135, but
Yep.
we review everything from storage, transportation, even our CMRs under ammunition 527 1.00 with regard to all that stuff. Yeah, so it's a good review.
Yeah,
It's a good
that's
review.
good. Yeah, we've
for
had
folks.
you. We want to have you back down at Mansfield.
Yeah, happy to do it.
again.
Happy to do
again.
it.
Yeah, that should be. It's sad that you have to have a 3-hour seminar to cover the freaking gun laws in your state, but
Oh, and
we're happy that you're doing it.
And you're scratching the surface. You're trying to get the big concepts,
Yeah.
the big pictures.
Yeah, it's not even comprehensive.
A little
Yeah.
nuance where the questions come in, but just the big themes because it's so
Sure.
Yeah,
it's so complex. And then you start getting into case law and how case law is handled, and that you got to be a lawyer. Like you really, I mean, you need a
And we
legal
have
expertise.
no
Teach a
case
semester
law
on
on anything with 135 as
yeah.
of yet.
So is
Yeah.
everybody saying, "Well, we'll let the courts
Interesting, isn't it?
sort it out"? You say, "Well, they haven't yet." And in
Yeah.
order for the courts to sort it out, someone has to put their freedom on the line.
somebody's
Sure.
got to be canned. Yep.
It's ruining lives, absolutely. And the only legislative changes we've had benefit the police.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. They had legislative change, so they
Right.
when
They
they
get the geared
originally
carve-outs.
created 135, they left out campus police officers.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
municipal and state police and EPOs, they could have any size magazine, any type of semi-automatic rifle, pistol, or shotgun, but they failed to protect
Include the
the
campus
campus
police.
police officers. So they went in, they made a legislative change to 131M, and they still didn't get it right.
Of
Right?
course.
They still
Yeah.
didn't get it right, but
course not.
so goes the
I mean,
legislature.
good for them, I guess.
Yeah.
The rest of us are still out here in the cold.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things. So some of my closest family, best friends, law enforcement, have worked with some great police officers in my 26 years at Gold, just good men and women. But this 135 is bullshit. The division
Yeah.
that they've created between citizen and citizens that are not law enforcement. So I'll never use the term civilian unless I'm talking with military.
Yeah.
I try to remind police officers, listen, unless you've served in the U.S. military, don't refer to me as a civilian.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to make that mark, and to treat a retired police officer, or a retired police officer has the ability to possess a magazine that holds more than 10 that was made yesterday.
Yeah.
If you get caught with the same magazine, you're looking at 1 to 10 years, $1 to $10,000 first offense for that. How does that lessen crime? How does that protect the citizens of this great Commonwealth? It doesn't. It's there for one reason: division.
Exactly.
And how is
It's
that blind
creating
justice?
classes of people?
It's you're creating a multi-tiered justice system that can't survive.
The have and the have-nots. And the Werman v. Healy suit that we brought to bear, of course, in 2019, the Supreme Court said, we're not taking any Second Amendment civil rights cases this term. And that we went after the AG and the governor specifically over magazine capacity and the fact that we couldn't have semi-automatic guns with certain characteristics.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people forget about that, but that
Yep,
was one of the
that's right.
original lawsuits.
Yeah, it got lost kind of in the noise of
Yeah,
Chapter
well, the
135.
Bruin decision was working its way up through the district courts, and the Supreme Court, rightly so, I guess, said, sorry, we're not taking anything. So, I'm still optimistic. Hopefully this session we'll see some
It's starting
Second
to look
Amendment
up.
related stuff.
There's a pile of stuff up there, and we'll dive into the details as we always do. But there's a pile up there, and a lot of them are not being rejected. Mm-hmm. They're not being denied cert. However, we're coming to the end of what they consider their winter season. So if it doesn't happen in the next week or so, I don't think it's going to. But
yeah, I mean, we saw with
and we
Snoke,
have
we
a
saw with
couple of-
Ocean State Tactical that they kept rescheduling, and then eventually
it drops off.
drops off.
It either drops off or denied cert or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe they'll actually get something done because it's obviously not going to happen at state level. It's getting worse.
Yeah, not in this state. Not in this state.
Worse.
But it's hard to think, Massachusetts, the small handful of states that are really awful.
Yeah.
It takes so much of the attention away from the states that are doing things right.
Yeah.
But we do see, especially over over this past week, there were 2 somewhat major incidents that made the news. So Brown University, which is nearby where I live, had a shooting. They still, as of this moment, I don't believe they've caught the individual.
Nope.
They had a person of interest, and of course, the news and multiple media outlets published the person's information.
Outed the guy. His family's getting
outed
phone
the guy.
calls and
family. Here's where he's from. All information and details and everything. Turns out it wasn't the guy, and I'm going to be interested to see how many lawsuits come from that. But then they had that issue in Australia as well. Now, Rhode Island, as far as states go, has very restrictive firearms rules, laws, legislations.
I have to say that it's actually surprising how under the radar Rhode Island is when you think about crappy gun law states. You go Massachusetts, Jersey, Hawaii, California, et cetera. But Rhode Island has some really shitty gun laws.
Connecticut and Rhode Island both
terrible.
Connecticut had a lot to do with Newtown. Rhode Island was good for quite a while, or was tolerable.
And then
in the last 5 or so years,
very much
they've radically changed.
Like here's your magazine ban, and we're not going to grandfather anything.
That's what Rhode Island has done that is unique. That Ocean State Tactical was trying to address, which was part of my frustration with why the Supreme Court didn't take it, is because there was no grandfather dates for anything. They banned standard capacity magazines, no grandfathering or anything. You either destroy it or turn it in. There's no other option.
It's a clear takings issue, and they,
now they're going through. They did it like a assault style firearms ban. They basically just whatever Massachusetts does, they're doing now, because they can't think for themselves. But they have permits to purchase. They have a separate license to carry. They have waiting periods. They have red flag laws. They have the bans, the magazine bans, the enumerated firearms stuff. They're going through all these things, and it obviously didn't change the outcome of the event. When we look at Australia has extraordinarily restrictive firearms laws and regulations.
Some of the worst in the world.
Where
and yet here they are.
Where you have to belong to a specific club, and you have to have a specific sporting license, and then you have to have a specific license for each firearm that you own.
You have certificates of need and all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
And the dust hasn't even settled yet, and they're already saying we need to make our gun laws stronger.
They had not even recovered all the people who were injured for either the deceased or people that needed to be treated. Yeah. People had not even made it to the hospital
yet. We need
to
make it worse,
And they were already saying that, well, what we need to do is we need to change the country's gun laws.
Ridiculous.
It's like, well, when you have a collective of people that say their stated purpose on this earth is to eliminate other people,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe legislate that a little bit. I don't know.
Be a good place to start, huh?
One would think. Maybe look at the behavior and the thought process behind it instead of the tool. But it's going to be interesting to see what Rhode Island comes up with of how this is going to be rapidly turned into political leverage, which to me is just gross.
Yeah,
it is.
So what is 2026 shaping up to look like? Mr.
Well, I've
Green,
got some great hunting
training,
trips planned. I'm going to go to Kansas quail hunting and then coyote hunting up in the Forks.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Coyote hunting. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
There's
the 15-mile stream in the Forks in Maine. We passed it on our way up to Jackman. Heading up there with a good friend Mark from the Westwood Gun Club. And then I'm actually going quail hunting in Kansas with my brother and his employer.
Nice.
With some of their clients, I was invited, and I've never been quail hunting in Kansas.
A corporate quail hunt.
Yes,
nice.
Yes,
right
that's the way. That's the way real America, gets business done. There's the golf course, and then there's get some quail.
Trip.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So that's my birthday present to myself in January.
Just rubbing elbows with all sorts of people.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Yeah, they
right on.
There's some good people down in that area. Kansas, Oklahoma, just my kind of people, as we like to say. My kind of people.
Man,
Yeah.
so how about training? What is the training outlook?
So we're getting busy already with range safety officer courses.
Yep.
So I think I have 4 or 5 booked already starting
Nice.
in January.
Very
We've
nice.
had a great reputation with that class. And then the gun law seminars.
Rolling along.
Yeah.
Rolling along.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. Outside of that, classes are kind of slow.
Yeah.
When we look at the trauma classes and the gun law classes, and I don't know if it's so saturated, not the gun law class, but the defensive classes,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
we have the mass gun law seminar. That's still hugely popular, but we also have, the self-defense gun law classes.
Sure,
Attorney Lisa Steele has been teaching those, and those are hit and miss. Could be the time of the year, but I mean, with
yeah.
USCCA offering things like that, there's just a lot more people offering that. And I remember trying to find a trauma class was like pulling teeth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now we have some really
all over the
great
place, yeah.
trainers, and a lot of clubs are bringing in folks that are certified with the American Heart Association to come in and teach first aid and
doing
trauma
first
classes.
aid
So
and-
listen, I don't care if you get it from Goal or you get it elsewhere, just get it. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, especially the stuff, like you said, the first aid, CPR, AED.
Yeah, the common.
trauma care.
That's
The more common
definitely.
aspects.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the number one
Critical
emergencies you're going to have in your life are medical emergencies, fire.
Yeah.
all those things are hugely important.
Far more likely to need your medical training than you are to need your
The legal stuff, I would argue that the legal stuff, the laws about self-defense should be somewhat state specific.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the courses I wouldn't necessarily recommend, like the national
CCA,
brands. I would look
yeah.
at something a little bit closer.
course.
So
Yeah,
they're going to
'cause-
have a little more intimate knowledge.
Oh
of
yeah, because
the
we,
legal
I mean,
landscape.
we like you were steeped in it. You know, it's
Yeah, big difference
soaking
between the
in it
way
every day.
Massachusetts looks at the right to self-defense compared to other states.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we've seen people do what looks like completely righteous self-defense situations
yeah.
that
And
get
in
dragged all over the
Massachusetts, You'll
place.
get dragged into court. Yeah,
It's like, yeah, you're
Different story.
Yep. So, definitely the state-specific training, I think, is the way to go. Now with the gun law. So, what are the questions that you're hearing most common? What's the feedback?
The
that you're
registration, questions on
Registration
registrations.
the 8-1 dates and all of that stuff. And,
Yeah, a couple of facts, right? People say, so I have to register all my guns Okay, listen, if you've been a Massachusetts resident all your life and you didn't start acquiring guns until the 70s and you've been lawful, compliant, all your guns are already been reported, right? So I use the term reported prior to 135 because we didn't have registration prior to 135. I don't care what you
That's
say.
right.
We didn't have registration. We
That
had
is
reporting
right.
requirements. Now, by statute, they've codified registration. We have registration now. So if you've been a lawful gun owner and you've only lived in Massachusetts, all your guns have already been reported and or registered under the new law. So when I read things on, some of the forums like, oh, you don't have to register any of your guns until next October. No, that's absolutely not true. So we have a very small class of folks that this affects. So I'm a perfect example. I lived in Utah for 10 years, moved out of Central Mass in 1990, went out to college, loved it, bought a house called Utah, my home for 10 years, bought a lot of guns. When I came back to Massachusetts and I brought all those guns with me, I wasn't required to report those to the state.
That's right.
Now, under 135, if I wish to be compliant by the end of October of 2026, I will have to register those guns, right?
yeah.
So if I look at, my neighbor who got his LTC 4 years ago, right, and has only bought guns from Massachusetts retailers,
Yeah, he's
he doesn't
covered.
have anything to do.
He's
All
covered.
those guns are already reported, right? But we talk, you know it as well as I do. We've got, licensed gun owners that took in a gun from their neighbor because Harold died and the wife didn't have a license and she didn't feel comfortable with the gun in the house, or Mary died and Frank didn't have a license, he didn't feel comfortable keeping Mary's guns. Will you hold on to it, right? So how many people have done that trying to be the good neighbor? No good deed goes unpunished.
Not in this place.
And now the person who rightfully owned the property,
Yep.
right? They were the heir or the devisee, and they've moved, and now you've got a gun with no paper on it, right?
Right, right. Yeah.
that's a problem, right? Maybe you went up to, Hooksett, New Hampshire, and you bought a rifle or shotgun that you could have bought from a dealer in Massachusetts. You had 7 days to report that, right?
Maybe you didn't.
Now it's been 3 years, and you never reported it, right? So
that's a problem.
You haven't been lawful. You thought you were lawful, but you haven't been lawful. So I can tell you, if you're moving into Massachusetts, you have 60 days to report whatever guns you brought in with you. If you buy a gun out of state, you get something from the CMP, you go up to a gun shop in another state and you lawfully take possession or buy a compliant rifle or shotgun in Massachusetts, you have 7 days to report that.
Yeah.
Right. If you do a private sale, person to person from somebody else in Massachusetts, remember, folks, no private party transfers across state lines.
Right.
You need a retailer for that. Right. That's something that has to be reported within 7 days. So we have all these requirements. Folks, look it up. It's Chapter 140, Section 121B is where you're going to find a lot of your registration requirements now. But that's the big point of misinformation. People think, I don't have to register any of my guns until October 2026.
Yeah.
That's absolutely not true.
Not true.
Right?
That's not true.
That really, again, affects people that moved into Massachusetts after 1970 with guns. They never had to report them.
Yeah.
Everybody else, you should have reported your guns. Now, prior to 135, not aware of a single Massachusetts resident that was ever harassed, charged, or prosecuted for the late reporting under Chapter 140, Section 128 of the old law, unless they had negative interaction with law enforcement.
Right, unless it was a tag
they
on from
suffered a
something
license
else.
revocation.
Sure.
You got to turn in all your guns because if you don't, that's another crime. And then they start running those numbers. We don't have this. We don't have this. We don't have this. And this is going to be compounded, make things even more difficult, right? So up until 135, if you disposed of a gun through a dealer in state or out of state, or you donated a gun to a historical society or a museum, you never had to notify the state that.
Yeah.
You wasn't required by law, right? Not a lot of people in law enforcement know that, right? So
yeah. So it's
I hope we
problematic.
get something done through the courts on this. I really, really do. I know Mike and Jim are discussing certain potentials with counsel and whatnot.
Yep.
But time will tell. So that's the big one.
We'll have to see what the district attorneys do with it too, because if someone gets pulled over and they have their LTC and they have their firearm, and for whatever reason that firearm isn't registered, is that now the police going to go? All right, I'm going to run these serial numbers,
and they
if
better
it comes
be
back unregistered,
and
is
they
that
better
going
be
to
tied to you.
Right, and there's a lot of good reasons why it wouldn't have been reported with the state. So just a couple of things. First off, listen, I know that if I wish to be compliant with the law, I have to register the guns that I lawfully purchased as a Utah resident that I brought back into Massachusetts.
Yep.
I'm not going to do that until the last day of October, if I do it at all, quite honestly, right? I've got some moral implications with regard to registration and what have you, as so many other people do, right? So Gold's not telling people to do one thing or the other. We're only saying, if you wish to be compliant with the law, here it is, Chapter 140, Section 121.
Yeah.
Right? But we've got all these people. It's like, I'm trying to register all my guns on the portal. And why? Why are you doing that now? I mean, technically, the ones that you are reporting should have been reported years ago, right? But if you moved into the state, you don't have to report those until October of 2026. I would hold on. I wouldn't be in a hurry to do that. Yeah. Plus, we know that the portal has a lot of problems. For instance, under the new law, if you trade or dispose of a gun to a dealer, you have to notify the state, right? Because they remove Chapter 140, Section 128A from the old law, the exemption from having to notify a dealer if you transfer it through a dealer. The system doesn't accept a non-resident dealer. So if you trade your gun into a gun shop in New Hampshire or Maine, there's no way to log that into the system.
So if we have a bad Jackman trip and I say I'm selling a shotgun, let's stop at Kittery.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right, like we've never done that before. Yeah. So registration is the big one. Yeah. A lot of people have questions like, okay, can I leave a gun in a car? Well, yeah, you've always been able to leave a gun in the car, provided it was secured, right? So they've codified locked console and locked glove box, and I think that's wonderful, right? Mm-hmm. That's a convenience thing, and that's a 180-degree turn from previous law, right? Could you have done it? Yeah, well, we had the Rays v. Commonwealth decision, which gives us some case law on the fact that a locked car is not a locked container, much like a locked house is not a locked container for purposes of 131N.
Was that the corrections officer, Reyes?
Reyes was the corrections officer. And then I think it was Chief Redfern for a case dealing with, he had guns in the house. The house was locked, but the guns were not locked. So changes with that. So with regard to transport in a motor vehicle, we can now transport, for instance, pre-banned large capacity feeding devices in a locked console or glove box. They have to be unloaded, folks. You can't transport, you can't have a loaded pre-banned large capacity feeding device on a public way. It's got to be transported, unloaded, and locked in something. Now you can lock that stuff in your motor vehicle using the locked glove box or locked console. As an aside, if you're going to do that, I would take out your registration and insurance paperwork from that container. Right? Because you forget that it's in there, you get pulled over, you don't want to, startle a police officer on the side of the road for that. So we've got registration a little bit on storage and transportation. Big questions and misinformation with regard to ARs and
assault
pre-bans. And it's like, the Great Reset, as Mike Harris calls it. And a lot of people are like, Goal, you have it wrong, get it wrong. Listen, I've attended a ton of law enforcement gun law seminars, right? I attend Ron Glidden's gun law seminars at least 3 times a year, right? It's important that Goal knows what law enforcement is being told and what...
Right or wrong.
Right or wrong. Yeah. You need to know this information. That's why you're a Goal member. And we have several different classes of assault-style firearms. We have the pre-bans, we have the copies and duplicates, and then we have assault-style firearms that are not pre-bans nor copies and duplicates, like the Tavor X95, the sub-2000K backpack gun, the folding backpack gun. So, folks, what law enforcement is being told is that if you have a copy or duplicate of a pre-ban assault weapon, and I hate to use that term.
And pre-ban meaning?
Pre-ban manufactured somewhere on the planet Earth on or before September 13th, 1994, right? So we're talking about an old Colt H-bar, AK-47, something along those lines, right? If you lawfully possess that pre-ban in Massachusetts as of 8/1 of 2024, you should be exempted from law. At least that's what 131M says, right? But with the copies and duplicates, law enforcement is saying, oh no, you had to have that registered with the state in order to have lawfully possessed in the Commonwealth as of 8/1. It had to have been registered with the state on or before July 19th of 2016, right?
Oy.
And this goes back, basically they codified the AG's assault weapons advisory from July 20th of 2016. And then with this one just pisses me off to no end. So receivers, up until October 2nd of last year, Firearms Records Bureau would tell dealers, don't EFA 10, don't register frames and receivers. They're not guns. Well, according to 135, at least the interpretation of law enforcement, in order to have a lawfully possessed lower receiver for an AR-15, for instance, that had to be registered as of July 20th of 2016. And here's the problem, right? Michael Day and his ilk never sat with the folks from Firearms Records Bureau, with the great staff, some of the great staff at the state police, some of the staff with Goal, never sat to find out what the current law required and what it did. So now we have all these contradictions, and that's why I say if you've been a gun owner in Massachusetts since even the early 2000s, I don't see how you can be compliant 100% with the aspects of 135.
No, because
it's not possible.
They've definitely created little traps.
100% they did, Jeff. 100%.
Like you said previously, if it could not discharge a shot, they didn't consider it a firearm.
Exactly.
That was the whole.
That was the whole
concept of frame transfers.
Exactly.
And why people were doing it. It's like, okay, it's not a firearm by state law. So I can transfer you a frame, go source a slide or source whatever you want elsewhere.
Right.
And this is how you abide by the law.
Yeah.
And now they're saying no, even though we told you not to register it.
Yeah,
we're now going to hold you accountable for not registering.
Exactly.
Retroactively, now it's post hoc. We're going back on what we said before.
What really scares me, and this is what I think is eventually going to happen, is I think they're just going to start telling law enforcement, if you find one of these things, just grab it and let the courts figure it out.
Isn't that what Linsky said?
Because
at the hearing?
Because how are you going to sit there? We we tell people you're not going to win a legal argument with a cop on the side of the road at 2:00 in the morning.
Correct.
So
Hell, 2:00 in the afternoon, you're still not going to.
yeah. So to say, well, this was manufactured in October of '93 and it was purchased on this date, but it was registered. Like you're not going to. No
Like,
law
I
enforcement
bought this
officer.
lawful receiver
And to be fair, I think law enforcement has enough on their plate where unless that person happens to be a gun nut in their personal life would have any understanding of that. I think they're just going to tell them, listen, if you see anything that even remotely looks like it could be in this category, snatch it up,
hook it up,
grab it, confiscate it, bring it back, even if they don't arrest you at the time.
Exactly.
You're going to hold it. We're going to do some investigating on it. And if we need to go arrest that person, we obviously have their information. We're going to go arrest
Folks,
that person.
if that happens to you, remember, by law, they have to give you a receipt for your property at that time.
Receipt.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
But, as much as we've heard, law enforcement from the officer level, the people that are on the streets doing the work, they know the law's a joke. And they know that we as the licensed, trained, educated firearms owners, we're not the problem. And we're not the problem that they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And as much as they say, listen, we're not going to jam you up. We're not here to jam you up. We're not here to cause problems for good people. People still do get arrested.
Absolutely, they do.
Sure they do.
And we've done this in classes and everything. And I always tell people, never bet your freedom on the cops being cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No disrespect to law enforcement, but it's like, don't put your freedom in someone else's hands and say, well, but their judgment call is going to go my way.
We got an email from a goal member literally 2 days ago. Him and his wife were hunting down one of the public wildlife management areas, and coming out after legal light, they finished up their hunt. They had success in the field by way they had a wonderful time with each other's company, but didn't harvest anything. Walking back to the parking lot, they were met by 2 police officers and one police officer, just checking, hey, your gun's unloaded. Do you have a license? Right? One officer said, I ran your plates. You have a lot of guns. Right? So now we hear, and
now we're
not to get off
stuff.
topic, but right, for law enforcement to be able to access one's firearms ownership file off Merck's, that's for a criminal investigation.
It's prejudicial.
Right, absolutely. And it's like, so many friends of mine are police officers, like, we check people's lists just by with a license plate. Like,
great.
I know you have access to that, but what was the criminal investigation?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I ran your tags. I saw that you had an LTC. I looked at your file. So there was no so you're in violation. It's just it's
none of your
wrong.
damn business.
It's sickening. It's sickening to me.
Yeah.
And not just that, but look how that primes the interaction that person's going to have.
Yeah, right. You're going into this going, these people are gun nuts. And,
Right.
You're walking out to an interaction with law enforcement where they may or may not believe that you are some crazy person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're walking out with firearms.
I think if you are interacting with law enforcement and they say, we ran your file, you have a lot of guns, I guess the appropriate comment would be, why, thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yes, but not on me right at the moment. Yeah.
So what else? A lot of questions on the upcoming change in the approved firearm safety courses curriculum.
That's a big one. I'm hearing like people are asking that.
Yeah, very common. So we know nothing's coming out until April of next year. Do we have any inside information? No.
Nope.
We don't.
Nope.
Absolutely don't. But it's pretty clear in the law what the new curriculum is going to have to include. We're waiting on the state police for a lot of things, quite honestly.
But we don't know if any of those requirements are, what is it, a 15-minute video? Is it a 3-hour in-person court?
Last conversation that I had with the folks that were charged with the creation and implementation, it was their hope that they would be able to create all of the additional curriculum requirements and then hand that off to the BFS certified instructors. So if you teach LTC 007, home firearm safety, or LTC 002, teach the curriculum in its completion.
Yep.
Once you finished it, here's the state police created subject matter on harm reduction, things like that. And then here's going to be the live fire requirement, and here's the test. Right, live fire requirement said, okay, if you're gonna go with a live fire requirement, here's what the NRA requires for basic level 1 for the basic pistol.
Yeah.
right? Basic
Yeah.
pistols. So we gave them some templates. Don't know if they're going to use them or not. So when we
have
know,
no idea.
we'll certainly let you know. I know that Kristen Ryan has been good trying to get information out to basic firearm safety instructors in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah,
No,
what a
yeah,
great
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, her
Yeah,
and Rich Ridlin, I have a
you know,
lot of
that's one of those things
lot of
where
Too
it's,
bad the
compassion
position
for.
they're in. Yeah.
it's like I've sent so many emails back and forth with her. She's always been great. Very
Fantastic.
timely, responsive, very professional. It's like, but you still work for the man.
Very true.
But I mean, but the state requiring not just necessarily the training requirement, but requiring certain subject matter training that's nothing new. I mean, they've required us to talk about, licensing, acquisition, storage, transportation, all that sort of
Transportation,
stuff already.
storage.
Anyway, I'm surprised they're not just kind of continuing the same pattern with saying these are the things you need to cover. Write your curriculum.
Yeah,
and go about it.
And maybe they are doing that, but they're not. They're pretty
They haven't
tight-lipped
said
about it.
anything yet.
Yeah, pretty tight-lipped about it. Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, Mike Day and his ilk never sat with the folks
Right.
that were stakeholders in this.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
He learned his lesson
didn't
with
bother.
4420 when we stopped the speakers bill in its tracks.
Yep.
Right, where he met with the goal staff. Mike and I and Jim went in and sat with him, and we went up to all of his speaking tours.
Mm-hmm.
Goal staff was on some of those speaking tours. Like, where did you come up with this shit? None of that stuff was talked about at the speaking tour.
Yeah.
Just you're dealing with a guy that has zero integrity.
It was handed to him by the national orgs.
Here, do this.
Yeah.
Yep, do this.
Oh,
Disgusting.
absolutely. I think that's
Disgusting.
and that was proven by when he was asked basic questions by other representatives. He couldn't answer a single one of them, and they still voted for it.
And they still defend it to this day, Linsky. Yep.
All right, what else? So they're talking about serialization. I get a lot of calls. Do I have to serialize my gun? I have an old gun. I can't find a serial number. No, you
I had
do not
Grandpa
have to
shotgun from-
serialize a gun that was produced by a manufacturer. I think it was on or before October 22nd of 1968. So Gun Control Act of 1968 said, okay, from this point forward, manufacturers, you have to put a serial number on your gun. So folks, if you have a home-built gun, something that you built, yes, it's going to need a serial number. You need to apply for one with the Firearms Records Bureau. But if you have an old Marlin, an old J.C. Higgins or something like that without a serial number on it, right? Nope, you don't have to have a serial number on it. It's exempt. It was manufactured on or before October 22nd of 1968.
Good to go.
Also, folks are like, oh, how do I register and serialize my muzzle loader? You don't. If we had 4420, that would have been one of the requirements. Hell, you would have had to serialize your magazines, your extra barrels for your Krieghoff K80, your significant other, right? We're not under 4420, so you don't have to register your muzzle loaders, at least at this point.
Yeah,
Right?
for now.
Who knows what EOPS is going to come up with? It's
until
like
some other guidance
it's like
comes
they're
out.
pulling stuff out of their wig as it is.
Yeah.
So
Man, what else? I know there's just so many.
how
There's so
much
many
time?
questions.
How much time do we have?
And it's difficult because you do the seminar, so there's always the big picture stuff, but then people get real specific with questions of really nuanced in the weeds things, and that's where Goal
Hold your questions till the break.
Goal has had to take a position of do the most, take the most cautious approach,
Sure.
Yeah.
as a general piece of advice. And as
your
much as
risk
people
tolerance.
want to
Sure, yeah.
poo-poo that and say, well, Goal's saying this and Goal's saying that, and my interpretation of the laws is different. It's like, our job is to keep people out of jail and do that the best way we can. And it's sad to say that a lot of this now is coming down to, it's like, well, what is your risk tolerance?
It's
What is your
crazy.
risk tolerance, and then what are you morally okay with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tough questions. Yep. Tough question. It's not fair. Not fair to people that are trying to be responsible gun owners. So now I don't use the term lawful gun owner anymore.
No.
Responsible
Nope.
gun owner.
Yeah.
Yep. Not here to, I don't care if
'Cause
you're a
there's-
lawful gun owner or not. I don't think I am. I don't think any of you are.
Nope.
Right.
I'm
But
sure
are we
I'm not.
responsible gun owners? Not, there aren't two guys that I trust more being around guns than you two. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, geez, like everybody else, we're waiting on some court remedy, possible court remedy. I'm not expecting anything from the legislature to fix this.
No, they have no interest in. All they want to do is double down.
Correct. So time will tell. Time will tell. But Goal is not here to give you legal advice, or we're here to give you information as we know it. We're great at reciting citation. Right?
Yeah.
We know that pretty well. We know what law enforcement's being taught. We're trying to follow the courts to the best of our ability. We work pretty closely with a lot of well-respected attorneys that are currently involved in cases that came out of or were born because of 135. So we're just here to give you the information as we know it. If you're looking for legal advice, take a look at Goal's legal webpage, right? Take a look at our attorney referral webpage and start making the calls.
Goal.org/legal. And that's, for anybody who's asking what Goal's doing. We're
100%.
Really trying to work.
Yeah, we're certainly involved in a lot of the courts, a lot of various cases, and hopefully we can do some more, get involved in some more litigation as the opportunity comes. But I mean, that costs money.
Sure does.
And
absolutely it does.
We're into
it's amazing.
We're into it. A lot of money that we spent in the past year and a half attacking some of this stuff.
Turns out attorneys like to get paid.
That they do.
Yeah.
That they do. There are some very fair ones.
They're funny that way.
But I'm amazed to see the bills that we've written out to some counsel on this stuff. But that's the price of doing business.
Exactly. And Jim comes on even the last couple of years, every time we say, listen, we hear a lot of things from membership saying, let's deal with it in the courts. Let's sue them. It's like, okay, it's time to sue them. But now, that's
Who's
not
going
free.
to pay for that?
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for
Everybody, we all need to open our wallets and, so we'll do what we can do. All right. Well, as always, John, this is amazing for all that you do, for all of us here in Massachusetts, for Goal, for me personally, for just everything. Can't thank you enough. And we appreciate you coming on the show. As
God
always.
love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Spread the word. Spread the word.
Right
and until we get out into the field again. And I thank you for my
Counting down.
new favorite coffee cup. Look at that, huh?
Right on. I used mine
sometimes
the other
I
day.
wish we filmed some of this stuff because that is a great picture. Yeah, the four horsemen of the Orange Army.
That's right. The Orange Army, the grouse decimation squad.
Yeah, just tell
Jack
Jim
and
to
me.
stop throwing water bottles at me.
Tossing him in the back seat. Good stuff.
Because he doesn't just drop it over the seat.
Oh no, he whips it.
Oh yeah, he
it's
just
full to
flips
the
it
back.
back there. It's like, hey man, you got people back here. All right, good stuff. Jon Green, Director of Education and Training, Gun Owners Action League, been here. Would you say 26 years?
Yeah, 26 years last August.
Man,
Last
oh
August.
man. Well, we're grateful for you for all that you do. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to do it, folks.
That's it for today. Thanks for listening in. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the show, share it with friends, and check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Goal Podcast MA, on YouTube at The Goal Podcast, or on Twitter at Goal Update.
To join Goal, visit goal.org and click the Join and Renew button at the top of the homepage.
You have a topic you think we should cover, if there's something going on in your club or town, or if you have a question for the mailbag, shoot us an email, goalpodcast@goal.org.
The Goal Podcast is a production of Gun Owners Action League of Massachusetts. The views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of Goal, its staff, or affiliates.